Hello everybody, thanks for coming back. This is really the second video in a series about trend indicators, just giving you an overview of different options that may fit your trading style. It's not about getting in and out of trades or anything like that. It's all about finding trend indicators that fits your trading style to help you find nice long trends. And of course, trends and clean, uh, getting rid of some of the choppy markets or choppy trades is really where the success lies. So I wanted to continue where we left off. This is a blank chart. When we on the first video, we shared a lot of these different indicators, and we got down to this one. The HMA is a really good one, and I wanted to show you how that one works. And this is, again, like you saw if you watched my first videos, I love multi-time videos or multi-time frame videos because you can take an indicator like this and you can see what it's going to look like here in a 30-minute chart, which is great. But wouldn't it be great, even better, if you could see what a long trend term, maybe a 4-hour indicator on with the same settings might look like. So we've got some nice long downtrends, and I always like to take the ones that are different colors and change, or different time frames, and change them for importance. So if it's a 30-minute time frame, and then I've got one that's a 60, the 60 will be a little bit heavier lines, a little bit darker colors. If it goes to 240, then you've got maybe instead of orange, you're going to want to put something a little bit more like a red and a little thicker lines, so that that gives you a little bit more weight, and that tells you it's a little bit more important. And you might change the other ones to something that's a little less weight, and I like blues and yellows when they're not quite the same. Or that one's a green, let's change that to a yellow, and a little thinner lines. So you can see on this indicator, we could put a 4-hour chart up and know that everything that trends here should be a bear market. So we could take the shorter terms and get all the bear markets, get out of here. Get another bear market, get out. Get up here and get another bear market and get out. So we could trade it long term, but if we used them in combination, you can see we've got a lot more pips doing it this way. But you've got to keep an eye on it. That's the difference. So if you want to sit and watch this and hey, we missed that turn, then you still know it's a downturn. So it's not like you've made a big mistake. So sometimes you see these upturns, that's your choppy market, and we can either not trade them or we can let them ride and continue, because that's probably still going to take a nice long downturn. Now looking at this a little bit better, you can get an idea. These are nice long trends. And so if we were to do the same thing over here, and maybe changing that because we're in an uptrend, so we can tell the difference. We could be taking all the uptrends, and when you feel like it, get out, wait for the next uptrend, do it again. Or we can actually change some of the settings on this. So maybe we want to take some of that chop out of here. And now this is current time frame. We're looking at 144 period on the HMA. Now that's pretty long. So what we could do, I'm looking at that, what I would probably do is change your 4-hour down to like 56. And now you've got a long that moved clear back here, and you got a short that moves up here. So you've got in and out a whole lot quicker using that. Now we're back into a long term or an uptrend. So um, sometimes changing the settings on them, a little longer term trend, we can lower the HMA number, and we can leave the smaller term time frames with the higher numbers. That way it eliminates some of that choppiness. So this is an excellent indicator to use. It's called an HMA. And you can see over here, HMA color, no repaint, multi-time frame. And I'll do another video that shows you how to actually make indicators with a specific time frame if you want to. So we can see like some of these up here, I've got them locked into a 4-hour or 30-minute or 60-minute, so I can just drag them onto the chart and they're already set up. So you probably, maybe that's something you can do with no problem, but I like doing that so that I can just drag them on the chart and put them where I want. Now, a moving average time frames, here's some really good ones. I'm going to show you those in a minute. Oh, and I wanted to show you this. Level stop reverse is a real good one to use with them, with different time or different indicators. We can get that one out. We can drop this on here, and you can see it really takes some, gets you in and out quick if you want to do almost scalping trades. Or, like I mentioned, we can pop that up to a different time frame, maybe a 4-hour time frame, and get back into nice long trades, nice short trades. So we can combine a couple of indicators together to give us double verification. But 2 indicators is probably the max you'd ever want to use because they really get confusing otherwise. You get 2, you learn them, whichever 2 that you want. Maybe it's just 1 indicator and trend lines. That's good too. But you don't really ever want to get more than 2 on here because they can really become conflicting and you're going to jump in and jump out, and it's not going to be real profitable. But something like this would give you double verification, and you might say, hey, we're going to get out here, but we're going to wait till that changes to a short. You can do it that way too. So let's look at, though, moving averages, which are real simple. We've got one on here called a ribbon fill, which basically shows you the crosses on a ribbon. So when the time, moving average changes, it changes colors. And we can look on here and change the settings. That's a 13 moving average period and a 26, which is pretty popular, those 2 settings. And this has a lot of settings, so we might want to change that to a different moving average method and stretch it out a little bit longer, and it takes out some of the chop. So, or you can get in and out quicker, either way. Or you can change the time frame again. We're back to the time frame. Having multiple time frames, there's a nice 4-hour. So you've got long uptrends and nice short down, or nice long downtrends as well. And again, that one is something that you might want to pull that up to maybe a 9 and a 21. So you can kind of experiment with it. Got in and out a little bit sooner. All different types of settings to meet your trading style. There's in and out a little bit quicker even. So it's showing you, kind of giving you warnings here. It's about to change. When they're getting close to each other, they're just about to change. That's when you have kind of warning signals. So that's a moving average that works really well. It's called a ribbon fill or a ribbon moving average. Now this is a moving average line that I like that kind of combines moving averages by telling you the direction that the moving average is going. And here's a 30-minute chart. And of course, we can adjust the different settings on it if we want to, including time frame. Maybe we want to have a 60-minute moving average, but look at it on a 30-minute chart. It's a little bit easier to read. Or I like to, again, combine 2 of them together. Maybe doing a 4-hour chart and even a daily. And doing them again with the different colors gives you different strengths, showing you, hey, this is really going to be a strong downturn now. So we've got a 4-hour chart we might have got into up here. And maybe we would have went long down here. Or we can change the time frame on it just a little bit and drop that down and get so it has a little less chop on it. You're getting into it a little bit sooner, but notice you got out a little bit later. That's kind of a difference. We can also make that, a simple moving average be even a little bit quicker. So those are all depending upon your trading, ways that you trade. You can determine. But here we've got three different time frames. We're looking at a 30 and a 60 and a 240, and it just gives you a good idea how strong those trends are becoming. Are they getting stronger or weaker? Are you trading in the major trend, which kind of gives you an indication you're doing the right thing, even if you're trading in a long trend up. If it starts coming back, you're still probably pretty safe until the next time frame actually changes. Then you want to get out. So that's a real good way to do it. You could do moving average trends. Now parabolic is also a nice one. You've got one that comes with your trading charts. See if I can find it on here. It's under trends, I think, parabolic. And here again, you're looking at a 1-hour chart, and it really gets you in and out till it kind of tells you when trends are starting to change. But it's nice to have multiple time frame ones, so I like to look at this one. Actually, that's just really got too much choppiness to me. So I like to put a parabolic on here that, here's a couple different ones. This one, we're sitting on a 1-hour time frame. Set this up for a 240, 4-hour. And again, that's parabolic. We're seeing that in a different way, but it tells you when the time changes or when the directions are going to change, and that can all be adjusted. We might want to make that a little tighter, and you're getting in and out of different directions a little bit quicker. Another nice one, if you really like to see the parabolic, let's find it on here again. Is this one? It's more like the traditional, but still not quite. It's a little bit easier to read. We can see our colors. I like still doing reds and greens. To me, it's a lot easier to understand what I'm doing, but maybe we want to put that on a 4-hour chart. There you go. See how they match up with the other type of indicator too. It's very similar. So, and again, you can combine that with maybe even a daily chart to find out, what's really happening here. Let's put that, maybe this one you might want to do a daily chart on. And look there, there you've got the major up, major down. So maybe one is a major down and a bear. You only take the bear trades back into a bear trade. And, that's helps you stay in the right direction. Gets you out, gets you back in. So you can use those in combination. And again, in combination with maybe a trend too, trend lines. That would be helpful as well. So let's clean that up. Now, those are parabolics. RSI is a really, really good one. Now, this is one that's actually on the chart. Again, we've got another one that's really easy to see. RSI adaptive. It uses an EMA. It's a no rebate, and This is one that we can change time frames on again. There we go. Really takes out all that choppiness. But you can do that, and you can still have the other ones in there at the lower time frames, so that you may want to just get in and out in the right direction, maybe at 60. So we'll take the long ones, get out when it's short, get back in, get out. That gets you out clear up here, so you can see that gets you, even if you don't get back in as a short until they're both together as shorts. So that's a good way to trade right there. So that's a trading system. Each one of these are trading systems. What you want to do is adopt one of them as yours, live with it, learn it, get to know it, not worry about the other ones. It's nice to be able to see which ones are here, and then you can choose how you want to do. We've got support and resistance lines. You can always do that too. This one tells you for different hours where your support and resistance lines are based on where your trends went. You can combine that, and that gives you a good idea when it's going to make a turn. So, and based on when it turned last time, there might be some really good resistance lines. So if you've got, combine that with trend lines, you'll know. See, that hit a resistance here, it's a resistance here. They're usually in multiple locations, and when it comes down, that's going to be support again. Come down here, another support. If it gets down that direction, that would be our next target. So these are kind of like target areas you can trade in. That's a support and resistance system. You can do trend lines and then have targets. When it breaks a trend, that's your next target, and so forth. Again, that's a system in itself. You wouldn't want to combine that with any other system. You want to use that, get to know it, learn it, and make that your system. You also have super trends. This one has a candle indicator again, which we saw when we were doing the Bollinger Bands on the last video, and that's real nice because it really shows you graphically what direction you're going. And again, this is another one that we have time frames on. So if we set that up as a 240 time frame, we can see it when we're in a 1 hour chart or 30-minute chart. That's not going to change when you change your time frame of your chart if you have your indicator set up for a particular time frame, which is nice because you can kind of do two things at once. You might know the major trend and then zoom in on it and do trend lines and do your minor if you want to take, like scalping trades or shorter term trades. Now you can combine that. That's called super trends. We do have super trends that are lines on your charts too. This one's a real tight one. Really keeps you into the trades without letting you go too far. Too much resistance and support. It really keeps you tight, almost like a scalping trade. But again, set that up for a longer term, and you've got your nice long trends. Got you out here again, and get you back in on the next turn. So this one's can be set up with different periods as well. If you want to be a little longer period, a little shorter period, you can always adjust that depending upon your trading style. And you see how it changes, and then you can go back and look a little bit more long term and say, did I want to get in and out there? Notice how it changes colors too. Together with the two different ones, we can actually say, hey, that's a short, even though it doesn't show it, that's a long. To me, it's a little bit easier doing, colors that make more sense to me. And you can see they kind of go with your other chart colors too. But that's all called super trends. There are a couple different indicators for that. And if you want me to send that to you, let me know. And I can do that. I'll send you a copy of them. These are multi-time frame indicators, which I've collected over my time of trading and had some of them custom made. Some of them I just like combining them, putting an indicator on there for current time frame and then one for maybe a 4-hour time frame, so I can see when to get in and out if I want to play it that way. Now we also have trend line indicators that'll actually draw the trend lines for you. And if you have a hard time deciding where to draw your trend lines, there's actually several indicators that'll do it for you. And they're nice because you can watch them when they cross, but anytime you want to change a time frame and move it back, they'll refresh for you, or you can see them on longer time frames and they automatically adjust. So maybe you want to combine something like that with your moving average indicator or your Ashley indicator and know where things are going to kind of have a potential of stopping and turning around. This is a TMA indicator. It really gives you a good average of the daily trend, letting you know based on what the daily movement is, where you're at in that daily movement. And that's another one that you can change time frames on. Combining maybe that one with and do them both the same 4 hours, see where they hit. So we've got one here that gets in and out a little bit quicker. We can change them a little bit. Remember we talked about doing that one a little bit smaller HMA. And here we've got something that's very similar. So that's kind of like a double verification. You might want to get out, get back in. Here is double verification to get back in long. That's a real good way to do it because they're kind of verifying each other. And that would be a nice setup right there. Turtle trade channels also not only gives you, the bear and the bull markets. Let's change these back to green so I know what I'm doing. That makes more sense to me. But the neat thing about the turtle indicator is when you get up close, it shows you where you want to keep your stop loss at all the time. So as this moves up, you keep your stop loss on here. When you're down, when it's a downtrend, keep your stop loss out here. So that way it actually protects you a little bit better. So if you follow that and continue to move your stop loss with it, you will protect yourself. So kind of here we are back in the uptrend. It kind of gives you a heads up. As in most of my indicators, you can always go a different time frame again. It has alarms to let you know when it's changing. Those are nice up and down trends, as you can see. And when that moves here, so like for instance, if this is where we were at, we would have our stop loss down here. This is where we're at, our stop loss is down here. This is where we're at, our stop loss is down here. So it protects us. Now here you would have probably been stopped out, but is still in a bull market, so you can always get back in. Well, the turtle trade indicator is really a good one. Now this is the one that I use primarily. It's just what I got used to. So everybody's a little bit different. And I'll show you how this one works. Get a clean chart again. This is the voltage channel, and basically it looks like this. And that's got some odd colors on it too, so let's get that changed. I had that set up last time, but let's do greens, reds, maybe a yellow, and a blue. Here you go. Now that helps you get in and out. Now that's again on a 30-minute chart. This is one that you can change. Maybe we want to do, you know, a 4-hour chart and a 30-minute chart. Here we go. If we back up, we can see where that is. And this one's nice. I like it because there's all different types of settings on there. The ATR length, you might want to set that at 5. You might want your MA, moving average mode, set to smooth, or I like actually linear weighted. And your KV actually really can indicate when it's going to change. And you've got a little tighter change. And if you kind of set it up how you want to trade, and you know where you're at. So I really like that one. Now how I set mine up usually though is by putting multiple time frames on here. I like a 30, maybe even a 60, and a 4-hour one to give me a real good indication. I can watch them all at the same time. Now one thing about these that I have noticed is that if you have a 15-minute, and I'll go into more detail on a different chart or different video because I like this one, but if you have a 15-minute chart, you can show your 15-minute time frames and below. Or I'm sorry, and above, not below, because your charts, these time frames, will be based on the lowest time frame that you have right now. So if I change this to 1 hour, the lowest time frame is now 1 hour. So what I always do is I put these on here, and if it's a 30-minute, I change them to only show me on the 30-minute and below. And if it's a 1 hour, it's only going to show on the 1 hour charts and below. And if it's a 4-hour, it only shows on the 4-hour charts and below. That way, as I change time frames, I don't get something that's from the wrong time frame. It just makes it look better for me. So if we go back to the 1 hour, now we've got two different indicators. Go back to a 30-minute chart. We can see we've got our really quick changes, a little bit more long term, and the longest term. And these again can all have different settings. That's a real tight one that I'm using right there. You may want it even tighter. You can do that, get a little closer. And you've got double verification of when you want to go short. So that's one I just learned to use over time, and learned how it works, learns how it reacts, and that's what you got to do. You've got to pick one, stick with it, learn how it really, what the nature of that indicator is, and the nature according to your chart too, because like U.S. Um, the Japanese yen and U.S. will trade a different way than maybe one of the other chart time frames are. So it's really good if you're doing this to learn one chart at a time, get the nature of it, and start making profits, and then you can take another pair, get to know how that pair trades, instead of trying to hop all over with a lot of different pairs that may trade differently, and they may have jerk knee changes and you're not used to them. So anyway, that's a few of more of my indicators. I hope you enjoyed that. So we've got two different videos with all of my different indicators on them, and I'll do some videos that's a little bit more in depth with some of these and show you how I use them a little bit better. But for now, hopefully that's helped you, and I wanted to let you know here's different ways to contact me. This is my website that shows one of my best trending tools. I hope you'll take a look at it. This one actually will automatically tell you the best trending pair out of all the pairs on the market. It does it instantaneously, and then you can just work on that one pair. And I've got a Twitter account, YouTube account. We've got some free indicator websites. Um, and down here are some great websites for analyzing your own trades. I highly suggest them. TradingView is a good way to compare how you set up your charts with how other traders set up their charts. That doesn't make them right, you right, or them wrong and you wrong. But it's a good way to compare what you're coming up with and what they're coming up with. You get to see why they're trading. The other ones like FX Book, My FX Book, that's a real good one to analyze your own trades. So I hope you enjoy it, and we'll talk to you at the next video.